So in this video, we'll be talking more about ecosystems. So just to define what ecosystem is, ecosystem is defined as a smallest unit of biosphere that has all characteristics to support life. So as we already know that bio means life. So that sphere which is able, very smallest, or a community or a particular environment that has all characteristics to support life. That is what we call an ecosystem. So this includes plants, animals, and microorganisms. So there are different types of ecosystems, which include aquatic ecosystem. Now, when talk of aquatic ecosystem, it is something to do with water bodies, and forest ecosystem. So you talk of trees, you talk of shrubs, you talk of grass that will be included in forest ecosystem. So you also have desert and desert ecosystem. So desert ecosystem involves those areas which receive zero or a little rainfall, uh, with a minimum of 200 to 500 millimeters. So we also have grassland ecosystem. So ecosystem involves two major aspects, which include structure and function. So let us talk about structure of ecosystem. So when we talk of structure of ecosystem, we're dealing with two components, that is biotic components and abiotic component. So when we talk of abiotic component, something dealing with non-living things, that is water, soil, uh, rocks. And when we talk of biotic uh, factors or components, are further divided into producers, consumers, and decomposers. So these are organisms that live or that breathe air. So to start with the first type of ecosystem, we talk about aquatic ecosystem. So aquatic ecosystem is formed by surrounding a body of water. So that is to say that community that involves water bodies, it is what is referred to aquatic ecosystem. So it contains the community contains communities of organisms that are dependent on each other and on their environment. So you have species that have formed a community, and that community is those organisms in that community, they depend on each other, but they also depend on the environment, that is in the water sources or the water bodies. So may involve aquatic ecosystem may involve flowing or still water, which might either be fresh or saline. So that is to say, flowing water, we're talking about moving water, and still water, we're talking about that water that is just in one place. For example, you have dams, you have ponds. So those are still water. When you talk of flowing water, you talk of rivers, lakes. So that is part of flowing water. So this flowing water might either be fresh or saline. So that is fresh water. When you talk of fresh water, that is the water which has low concentration of salts. And when you talk of saline water, it is that water which has high level of what concentration of salts in it. So characteristics of aquatic ecosystem. These are features that determine which organisms live in that area. So includes temperature. So when you talk of temperature, you have a particular environment or a particular area where, or a particular water body temperature in which some organisms will survive in that temperature, high temperature, and some organisms will survive in lower temperatures. So we also have availability of nutrients. So some organisms, they survive where there is more nutrients, or there is available availability of nutrients is high than when there is low availability of nutrients. But some organisms will still survive where there is low availability of nutrients. So oxygen concentration. When talk of oxygen concentration, that is how the air, or the fresh air, is pleasant for breathing in some organisms. So some organisms, they can survive with low concentration of air, while other organisms, they require high concentrated areas of air to survive. So when we talk of sunlight, some living organisms that habit in water bodies, they also require sunlight for their growth. So salinity, when we talk of salinity, we talk of the presence of salts, or the concentration of salt in higher level. So some organisms, they will live in highly concentrated waters than other organisms. So other organisms, they will live in waters that are in low concentration. Aquatic ecosystem are types of aquatic ecosystem. So water might either be fresh or saline according to the level of concentration of salts. So aquatic ecosystem is classified into two major classes, which include freshwater and marine ecosystem. So when there is low concentration of salt, you describe that environment as freshwater ecosystem. And when there is high concentration of salts, that environment or that community is described as marine ecosystem. So the following are types of aquatic ecosystems. So to begin with, marine ecosystem. This is an environment that has high level of dissolved salts. So these salts, they cannot be filled physically, but they are dissolved. So high level of those dissolved salts uh, is more present in marine ecosystems. So this includes oceans. So oceans, deep seas, and coastal marine ecosystem. They There is highly concentrated salts. So the function of marine ecosystem include the following: pollution control. So deep seas or oceans can be used to dispose some pollutants. So that is thereby helping to control the pollution. So flood control. So as much as lakes cannot hold that much water as in oceans, so when there is too much water, that that flooding water can be directed to the oceans, where it's rare for the oceans to flood out. Habitat for species. So there are some species of, or there are some living organisms that can only survive in deep water, for example in oceans and seas. So a very good example, you might have a whale. A whale will survive in oceans or deep seas. So shoreline stabilization. So when you talk of shoreline stabilization, you talk of that moving of uh, water from, at some point in time, from one place to another. So that is shoreline stabilization. freshwater ecosystem. This is an environment with low or zero level of dissolved salts. So sources include lakes, rivers, ponds, springs, or streams. So functions of freshwater ecosystem include source of drinking water. So much of the water we drink from well, from the lakes, from rivers is fresh water for agriculture. So agriculture for irrigation water that is used in agriculture is mostly fresh but not saline. Habitats for aquatic life. So there are some species of organisms, like for example fish. They will only survive in fresh water, but not in aquatic, but not in marine ecosystem. So that's much of what we can discuss for now about aquatic ecosystem. Thank you.